If you have been involved in an accident that wasn't your fault, why claim against your own insurance policy? Let G4 Claims help you today. G4 Claims can provide you with a like-for-like replacement hire vehicle whilst your car is off the road. Get your car repaired at an approved body shop or a body shop of your choice. If your car is unfortunately written off, G4 Claims will recover the cost of your pre-accident value and you will be kept in the hire vehicle until you are settled. If you suffer from any injuries, G4 Claims can set you up with a compensation claim and all services are totally free. G4 Claims charge the at-fault insurance company for all their services. They will never bill you or your insurance. Call G4 Claims for any help and advice today. Not at fault claims, made easy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sellik the Thunder podcast. Quite a surreal experience. It's the first ever time I've actually sat in. This is the first time you two have met.
I know, it's mental.
First time face to face.
Any first impressions of each other?
I don't like him that much.
I was going to say the same.
No, this is the end of the podcast. As we know it. We're here from the home of G4, G4 Claims, G4 Podcast Studios. Thank you very much for allowing us to use the space. You might have seen it already on TSF, but it's finally time for the Sellik the Thunder boys to have their go. Controversially decided to leave out the Man United scarves today and the Barcelona scarves. David wasn't too happy about that in the TSF video. But it was all hid.
They want a bit. I talk Scottish football and you've got Real Betis and all that in the background. You're just trying to confuse people.
Well, you know what? It's nice to keep people on their toes. We are here and we're in the studio and it's going to be brilliant. Today's show, we're going to be talking about everything that we have to in the past week in Celtic Football Club. Did you point at me though?
I'm saying keep your horn at the shot.
Oh, can you see it?
Because you're doing that, your horn. And it was here.
It was here in its very space. So Celtic, Origide has signed. We've got our first signing. There's the first talking point. It kind of happened in a whirlwind, Ryan, because it was the morning the news came out that we were in talks with Osaze Origide, and then by 7 o'clock while I was playing football, he was standing there with the jersey. So you happy to get the first man through the door?
Yeah, it's a start. I mean, the rebuild's going to be massive. We obviously know that, but it's a good starting point. Obviously, we've got Liam Shaw and Joey Dawson as well, but he's more for the Colts. But it was about 12 o'clock. We were linked to him, and then by about 5 o'clock, he was there. He was signed. It was quite a whirlwind, but it's a good look for Dom Micaiah as well, I would say, because it shows that he means business when it comes to a signing target, and the fact that the press didn't know about it until the very last minute is a good sign, I would say.
And I was going to say, it's not very often you get to see Celtic conducting their business, not only quickly, but in sort of secret from the press, because obviously we've been critical saying they've been leaking stories to the press all year. But and then when you think back, the last one I can really remember was maybe El Yunusi, because that felt like it came out of nowhere. You heard about it.
Do you remember that whole day? We got El Yunusi, O'Connor and Frimpong. I think they were on the same day.
And even might have been a few days before.
Was it? And even
Taylor.
Like
Taylor was
Taylor.
the same day.
Aye, that was right. Taylor was the same day. But even when Fraser Forster signed, I feel like that came out of nowhere as well. Like, do you remember any build up for that?
Because we announced him half time in a game, in a
right?
Champions League game or something.
It came out, had the spotlight on him and all that.
Oh, I was like the Undertaker, aye. But Ori's different. Like, you know, it's nice to see us conduct it in that sort of manner.
I know. I was just thinking of the song they used when Fraser Forster came out. It was Giant by Rag and Bone Man.
Is that what they used? Oh, Christ almighty.
So cheesy.
I missed that game that night. I wasn't there. Who was it we played? I wasn't there though. I was working, I think, or I was on holiday.
I'm trying to think when it would have been, because his first game was Hearts at home. That's right. So it might have been like AIK or
missed that game
like
as well. I think I missed that game too. I think it might have been on holiday then.
Tesco ruining lives.
As fucking always. But it's encouraging knowing that we are getting players through the door here. We've got Origide in. We've been talking about Vuskovic, but it feels like quite a while now that it's went quiet. We'll come on to that. It's a bit worrying, but it's nice to see that the process has started, and it gives you faith that they might start rolling in the next couple of weeks.
I mean, it's a signing that many might not be really thrilled with, but I mean, it's getting people in the door, and that's really what's important, to try and get the wheels in motion. And as Ryan said, there's other signings been made, but this one doesn't seem like it's just going to be for the Colts or nothing like that. It seems like he might get a chance. When you look at the kind of signing, you've seen similar ones in terms of your Leo Connors and that haven't got a chance, your Luca Connells that have came in a similar sort of style, cross-border fees, and they've not been given the chance so far. But you'd like to think that this guy will come in, get a chance, and it'll just hopefully be the first of many signings, because it's We need a lot of signings in this summer, and I don't think anybody can argue otherwise.
Oh no, of course we need. Well, that's one centre half. We still need another, maybe one or two.
It's kind of like a centre half, but it's a right back as well at the same time.
He likes. I mean, for the clips, what we've seen, he likes to carry the ball. That I've seen a few people saying, well, he's to release it a bit quicker than that, but it seems very much like Ange's style.
See, the thing is, he's 20 years old though, and he's not going to be the finished article. Like he wasn't even. I mean, he got a couple of games for Sheffield Wednesday, but it was never like their first choice centre back. No. He's a project, but it's the market that we should be shopping in my opinion, because there are deals to be done there. A lot of people were saying it was because one of our coaches, or I don't know if it was one of our coaches or former coaches, was assistant manager at Sheffield Wednesday with Tony Pulis, and he's just spotted all these young players and he's like, right, Celtic, get a hold of them, basically.
I mean, Liam Shaw, he spoke as well for the first time. We really got to hear from him, and he sounded ambitious. He sounded like he might have a part to play this season too. We've got Sheffield Wednesday and Wednesday, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Very fitting. Well done, Celtic. That's the perfect time to use the sounds. I should have thought of that. But doing in the leagues, as you said, it is a market that I feel like we have to exploit. And that kind of ties in, I think, with just the whole country, because there's players in Scotland who will come on to as well soon that we could be going for too. It's a weird one, because Celtic have got, we heard Ange last week talking about South America, Australia, there's players there to be found. I mean, now we're signing players from England, so it seems we're just going out here.
I thought we would have problems with that, obviously with the whole Brexit and getting visas through the door. So I thought it was quite encouraging that they were talking about looking in those markets, because obviously there's players to be had everywhere. You've got to be honest, there are tons of players out there. I mean, obviously, that's such a stupid statement.
Well done,
to
Ryan. Well
honestly,
done.
Counter one on Ryan's stupid statements.
There is a lot of players out there.
But especially in those markets that we don't usually shop in. Like, I know we've been linked to a couple of people in the past that are from those areas, but it's areas that we should be looking in. But like I said, I would say down south in England, because we can get those. We only need to pay development fees for these players, and it is an area worth looking in, especially if we're rebuilding. We need 7 or 8 players in the door.
Kieran Nisbet, £4 million, go.
Definitely. I mean, you've got people saying that they want to pay £4 million for Kevin Nisbet. I'm like, well, when you look at some of the signings we have made previously, we've paid £3.5 million for Patrick Klimala, who we have then sold to New York Red Bulls. Never worked out. Whereas you could sign a player that has had some proven goal scoring ability in the Premiership. He's second in the goal
only
scoring
player
charts.
ahead of him was Odson Edward. The only player.
I think he was joint second top goal scorer. I don't know who it was with.
I think it may have been
Roof.
I think it may have been him.
But when you've got somebody that's been proven the past 3 years, he's managed to make the step up year after year. We keep talking about it because it's very impressive. He's 24 years of age. He's, in my opinion, he's ready to come and play for Celtic. Maybe a few months ago I don't know if he'd come in to be the number one choice. I'm still not sure if that would be the case. It's all depending on who moves on for Celtic. Because we still don't know what's happening with Edward, and we all think he will be gone. But I mean, with the deal collapsing with Leicester City, are we going to get the money we want from him? And you've got this thing going on with the transfer clause with PSG, and it's changing. Daily Record have bought different things many times, so you don't know what to believe anymore in terms of it. But I know I'd definitely take Kevin Nisbet.
Well, that was the big question that I put up a tweet the other day, and it was met with a kind of mixed reaction in the replies, and it was, is Nisbet good enough now? And I know, Ryan, I think you're not as maybe confident as myself. And I'm not saying that's where we end. I don't think we should sign Nisbet. No. Be happy with that.
I think he should be the only striker.
Yeah, there's definitely room for another one to come in, and I think especially if Edouard goes, then that's almost a given. But for me, Nisbet is good enough. I wouldn't like to rely on that. No. Do you not think he's good enough?
No.
Oh, no, you're saying, all right,
I do want him in, but I think if Griffiths left, then it would have been the perfect sort of thing. We could get another striker to then replace Edward, and we'd have a sort of clean slate. But I don't know about with Griffiths in the door, and if we let Edward go, will they see Kevin Nisbet as being the Edward replacement and have trust in Lee Griffiths to be the main striker? So I don't know where that's going.
That's what worries me, because I'm worried that we're downsizing in terms of the quality of striker that we bring in. If Lee Griffiths is going to stay at the club, and we've got then Kevin Nisbet that was going to be probably number one in terms of striking position. For me, I don't want to start the whole Griffiths out thing again, but it would make perfect sense if Griffiths was used in the deal for Nisbet for me. I mean, I know we've signed him up to a year's extension, but you've seen that with loads of teams. They'll maybe sign a year's extension with a player, and then they'll they'll ship him off when a
You've
better
got
deal
those-
comes along.
That team in Belgium ready to try and punt Jack Hendry,
Jack Hendry.
just after
To
signing
be fair,
him,
that's
so-
financially very smart for
I know,
them.
that's a
They've
smart
played a
thing to
blinder
do,
there.
That's it. It was very smart, but at the same time, we didn't really rate Jack Hendry last year anyway. We didn't know there was going to be a meteoric rise in his qualities.
Don't start me. The thing is now, in the striking situation, you bring in Nisbet, and we're saying we need to bring another striker. The big question mark that lingers in my head then is, what about Albin Ayeti? Because he's still there, he's training, he's back in the team. He looks a bit fitter. He looked like he's trimmed down a little bit. So there's definitely an option there for a £5 million player to be the starting striker. But are fans
It's
ready to
just-
buy into that? That's the thing.
I know, after the money we've spent on him, you'd like to think that we will give him the game time he might deserve. I mean, I don't know. We've got pre-season to try and have a look at these players again. We've got a sort of fresh start again with a new manager. They can then prove themselves that I might not have been good last season, but I'm here to try and get my space this year. That could even happen with Lee Griffiths. Obviously, we were not big advocates of having Griffiths stay on at the club, but now that he's in, we're not going to wish that he plays badly just to prove ourselves right. I would love nothing
Well, maybe
more.
McGinley.
I'm not like that anymore.
But I would love nothing more than for Griffiths to make me eat my words.
Yep.
Honestly, go out and prove us all wrong, because there's so many people in, I think, that share our point of view. There's plenty of people that think we've also signed up the best goal scorer in Scotland on his day. Whether or not they want to look at the stats behind that is a different matter. But I don't know. I hope he proves us wrong, but it's just, with players we've already got to the club, especially with Ayeti, he proved himself not at all last year. He came in, scored a couple of goals when he was half fit, and we're like, hold on. If this is what he's like half fit, what is he going to be like when he's at full
I
fit?
still remember
We didn't see it.
the words that I said on YouTube when he scored 6, wasn't it, or 5 or 6? Was it 6? Scored 6 in those first 6-7 games for Celtic, and my exact words on YouTube, jinxed him as I jinx everybody. My exact words on YouTube were, this man's getting at least 20 goals this season.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he was on course to with the way he was playing.
I know.
He was up. It wasn't even just good finishing. He was just battering them in. We needed a striker like that when
His goal against Hibs, that was a crack.
I know.
See, the problem was he was scoring goals in games that we were not playing well, and we were forgiving poor performances just because we were getting the result. And then there never came a time where we started putting in good performances. It was we were getting results by playing absolutely shocking. And hopefully we can get, I don't know, these friendlies for me. Most people we don't normally care about friendlies, but I think this is going to be, like, all these wee games behind closed doors, it's going to be really telling how we're going to be going.
Celtic the Thunder live watch along Sheffield Wednesday. We'll see you Wednesday night.
It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Is it?
Aye.
Christ almighty, I'm all
I'm
over the
in
place. Are you? Oh dear. Ryan, right, okay, I'm going to ask you both a question just to end off the Nisbet conversation. Just to clarify, I really want Nisbet. Sellik, get it done, get it out of the line, don't play about with it. Kevin Nisbet, Lee Griffiths, Albin Ayeti. Is that good enough?
Still need another striker for me. You need a sort of top quality sort of enigma striker like Edward in there, like Edward or Dembele. And I know that we need another French striker, maybe, I don't know. But, we were linked with a guy that plays in France yesterday, that Benevetto. But,
£7 million.
for a 31-year-old, I do not see that
No, it's
happening.
never gonna
unless Dom Mackay's gone mental.
It's a story that's not really picked up much
The,
traction, so I don't think we
No,
have to buy
it seems as if it was maybe an agent trying to get a move for
really
him.
seem like a credible source. I went on to the tweet and the person had like 850 followers. I'm like, he's hardly Fabrizio Romano.
But I think
Romano.
Romano? What's his name?
Fabrizio Romano.
Romano,
Fuck
Italian.
He's an Italian.
But I do think we need another sort of striker in the mould of like a young striker like Edward or Dembele that we can sort of use as a sort of project. Because as much as we need sort of the finished article in certain areas, we need projects as well that are going to make us money in the next 2-3 years. That's our model, so I think we need to keep up with that.
You pretty much on the same side then, Ayeti, Griffiths and Nisbet isn't enough.
And I don't think it is. I mean, obviously, one of them could go to prove themselves to be a 20-25 goal a season striker this year, but on paper it just doesn't sound enough. See, because of what we've seen for Ayeti and Griffiths over the past year, it just sounds like they could be passengers again. And you really do need, as Ryan said, that name like Edward or that Dembele type striker in there that you know is going to be actually effective for you, because the rest of them it's a sort of hopefulness that they'll turn out and do well for you. But I don't know if that's just being a bit unrealistic considering the season the both of them have just had.
No. Aaron Hickey, there's reports from Italy that Celtic are trying to get in and about him. That sounds...
Jesus
That
Christ,
sounds
man.
a bit...
The boy is 19.
Well, anyway, Aaron Hickey, there is reports that we're trying to go from Ryan. This is one that you were ranting and raving about in the group chat yesterday. You were like, we need to get it done. Originally, I was on the Josh Doig boat. I was thinking to myself, Doig has got to be the player for Celtic. That's who I want as the left back. But then you look at Aaron Hickey, he's been doing it at the continental level now. He's been over in Italy. He's a good player. I mean, take what you guys say there.
I mean, he's not exactly played the full season for Bologna, has he? I mean, he went and lived in Italy. I mean, but he's went and got a good tan fucking. And that's
good,
his qualifications.
He's not had a haircut, that's for sure.
The video was it Spunkphone replied like you emo bastard. It does look like proper like golf though. He's sitting there like staring at the flare like Chad,
I will wait, there's some interest.
hello sexy. But Hickey, you're dying for that to happen, aren't you?
I think it makes total sense. I mean, we've been in for him 4 or 5 times already. You talk about Craig Levine was saying we've already been in for him, trying to bid for him 4 or 5 times when he was at Hearts. We let him go. He was part of the Celtic Youth Academy, so we obviously know how good he is and how good he can be. I know he's not played a lot of games in Bologna, but he's been training in Italy as well, so the quality of training will be better. He'll be a better player now than what he was when he left Hearts. And when he started playing for Bologna, all their fans were going crazy over them. They said, this boy is absolutely brilliant.
See, he was getting game time, then he got COVID in sort of December time, and that like kept him at the team and lost his spot.
Another thing about Hickey is he's actually played in front of people before, and Doig hasn't. Doig has never played in front of a crowd before.
Do you think that it's a point that some people might go, he's a football player at the end of the day, he should be able to. But it's something that we've not considered. There's a lot of players who have made their debuts over the past year have not played in front of a crowd. It will make a difference. Like, they've not really had that pressure. I don't think it's going to be anything drastic. I don't think you're suddenly going to
I think they're going to shut themselves and run up the tunnel. But
I'm just trying to fuel my Hickey agenda.
your Hickey agenda.
I want him in the door.
Well, this is I'll come to you in a minute, Kieran. This is me bringing up my Sellik Dad. I need a sound for that, like the Sellik Dad point of the day.
But we're going to use every button today, aren't we?
Oh, of course. Thank you for the live audience out here. My Sellik Dad point coming out now is I want Hickey, I want Doig, I want one of those 2 players, absolutely. Take any of them. If it's Hickey, it's Hickey. If it's Doig, it's Doig. Whoever it is, I'll bring him in. I won't bring him in, but Sellik will hopefully bring him in. The thing that worries me is I feel like we have there's a severe lack of physicality with our fullbacks.
no.
I feel like Taylor, wee guy, easily bludgeoned off the ball. Bolingoli's a wee bit physical. We know
I was going to say that.
We know he's physical. Bolingoli, they're all like wee guys. We don't really have a physical player, and we don't have any experience really as well. And that's why a lot of people were like the links with that Baldock character because he was a wee bit older. It's not something that's going to bother me and keep me up at night, but you know, when I seen Alioski, for example, was a free agent, I was like, he's the kind of player Celtic should go for because he's 29 years old, big guy, but he's also got pace, and it's the best of both worlds. I just feel like we're very reliant on these smaller guys, but there's bigger guys out there that are fast too. There's my Sellik Dad point.
I mean, if those players are there and they're available to get in,
trembling in fear.
But I mean, if Alioski was available, I'm sure he's got loads of offers after his performances for Macedonia.
Trabzonspor.
He's going for the money then, isn't he?
It's only 20 grand a week apparently he's getting.
20 grand. Turkey's a nice area as well, isn't it?
So. Have you ever been to Turkey?
No.
I've been in Marmaris. Funny story, let's go to an anecdote. When we were in Marmaris, every night the door would get chapped. It was terrifying. Like apparently the whole hotel, like every morning people would like get up beside the pool and like somebody chapped my door last night. And then somebody tried to kidnap my auntie as well, which was fun. It's a very dodgy place.
It sounds dodgy, but see,
I've heard a few people like apparently like they sit in vans and like scout people. I'm like, we're going to kidnap them. Like no joke. This is like.
Did you not meet the criteria then?
No, I didn't. I was too fat. You know, they weren't going to carry me. I would have fucking broke the van down sitting in the bag. Yeah.
See, on a lighter note, when it comes to Turkey, did you hear that Stephen Cocker's going to Fenerbahce?
Is he?
He was linked to us a couple of years ago.
He was at Dundee.
We were supposed to link to him, then he went to Dundee, and then like it wasn't anything special there, but it was the whole Rodgers link.
That's right. So Fenerbahce Istanbul, right? So he's in the space of a couple of years went from Dundee to Istanbul. Christ Almighty!
Was it Alanyaspor in the middle?
Aye,
Or
I
did
think
they go
so.
there?
Aye. That's bizarre,
There's
isn't it?
so many players for Scotland have actually played in Turkey.
Kenny Miller, Chris Boyd, Alan McGregor, I
Alan
think
McGregor,
they three done it, the trio.
I mean, you obviously go for the money, but it's such a weird
The
move,
hair
in my
transplant.
opinion.
It's a totally mental league as well, because Istanbul were like fighting relegation this year when they were in the Champions League.
That's
It was
right,
so at
that's
odds with
right.
each other.
Yeah, so Aaron Hickey anyway, we'll see what happens with that. I would like to see him come in, but we'll just have to wait and see. In regards to transfers and offers and all the rest of it, let's wrap up with one thing that we haven't talked about as a collective unit. I've spoke about it on YouTube. We've all tweeted about it. We've all pretty much made our thoughts perfectly clear that Lee Griffiths is staying at Celtic. There was a brief moment on Tuesday night, where we all thought he might have been gone because he was training himself. He was on his Instagram. He took Celtic his bio. He unfollowed Celtic at a point. He must have just been what was happening there? Must have been a wind up. Unless there was a sudden change of heart. But they announced on Thursday morning that he was staying with the club. Kieran, it wasn't the news that I wanted to see, but it's just pretty much, as you kind of touched on earlier, you don't want to see him fail now. You want to back him, you want him to do well, but I still can't feel that overwhelming feeling of it shouldn't have been the decision that we made.
Of course, I'll keep my reservations, and obviously I've got my opinions on the matter in terms of I don't think he should have been given a contract. I think he's been given far too many chances at Celtic as it is, and I felt like I just thought it was in both parties' best interest to cut ties and let him move on with his career. And I thought he'd have been interested in the possibility of going to an Aberdeen or a Hibs and maybe getting himself back in the Scotland team by becoming a mainstay striker there. But I mean, obviously, if Ange's got this in his head that he could play a part for us next season, and it's him that's actually made the decision, then I mean, who are we to argue with it? But at the same time, like, is this mic cut off?
No, it's not cut off. You're fine. I just turned their headsets down. Did you worry? What do you
I was
wonder
like,
now?
am I just talking to myself?
No, see, that's at this point in the show, like, people will be listening and they've probably noticed a difference. I just realised how loud we actually had our headsets on, so I'm hoping there's not too much an echo in the audio. So if you've noticed any change, we're all getting used to this, you know what I mean? It's our first time, but we should be fine.
This is the pilot episode anyway.
This is the pilot episode. I just turned this down a bit so that we weren't like too loud, but the mics are all fine. Like, what were you saying? Go on.
I thought I bored my mic into turning itself off. But no, just in terms of Griffiths, it's not what I know that Oyers are in the same boat. We didn't really want to see it, but now that he's in, we need to sort of trust the manager and his decision that he's made, and hopefully, as I said, he goes and proves us all wrong. But it's just this hopefulness I felt like we kept having last year with different things, and I just don't know if that's the right thing to be carrying over into this rebuild season. Like somebody that was pretty much one of the main examples of the drop in standards, the professionalism in terms of being fit for a full season. I know he argued otherwise on, I think it was why BBC, like the Euro show or something
like that.
So he was, and then him and Lennon had it out, but it's just something that I thought we would have put behind us and just moved on for. But no, we've gave him another chance, and hopefully it doesn't waste this one.
Ryan, the vibe we're getting right now about Ange Postecoglou is it's somebody, and you said a phrase earlier that players will run through brick walls from. This doesn't seem like the kind of manager that Lee Griffiths can kind of cross. He can't go back on his word now. It's now or never for Griffiths. We know that it's only a 1 year deal, but he can't let us down on this occasion. But do you expect him to?
I mean, it's like that fable. I hate talking about it, but that the scorpion and the toad. It's natural instinct for the scorpion to sting you. It just seems to be what Griffiths does. He just lets you down time and time again. But we'll see how much he buys into Ange Postecoglou's methods. I mean, I wouldn't even put it past him if he was still to go in the window. To be honest,
you're like so desperate.
Am I trying to manifest it into reality? Maybe, I don't know. But do you know what? I'm going to support him because you have to, basically.
He's a Celtic player at the end of the day. No matter if we don't really want him to be a Celtic player this season, it's the reality of it, and we're not going to wish anybody in a Celtic shirt to play badly. Everybody wants the best to happen.
And just like that, Kieran Auld has sided with all of the dads.
the thing is though, the talk was that he's on reduced terms, so it's not really much of a risk for us in a sense because we're not spending as much.
The thing that's annoyed me more is the people that are like, we've signed up the best goal scorer in Scotland on his day and all that, and it's the same sort of argument people are trying to make for Olivier Ncham, saying on his day he's the best midfielder in Scotland. I'm like, well, when is his day? And people have got this sort of delusion about Griffiths' goal scoring stats, because I mean the last time he got over 20 goals in a season was Ronnie Dyler's last year.
6 years ago. 6 years ago.
No, I'm not going to deny there probably is still a decent player in there, but is it a player that's going to be going out and grabbing the goals for Celtic?
Goal scoring machine was a quote that has been thrown about recently, and I just don't know what the machine is.
The thing is, though, we've seen this with Griffiths before. He tends to spit the dummy out when he's not the first choice striker. I don't know if you've noticed this.
It happened with Dembele.
It happened with Dembele. It happened with Edward at the start. And then when Edward and Griffiths were playing, all of a sudden everything was rosy again. The whole team benefited. But he's got to be a team player. He's got to work for the team, and he's got to know he's 30, 31 years old. He's not going to be playing every game.
It's the fact that worked so well, but with Griffiths and Edward at the end, like before the league got cut short because of COVID. And then people like when he came back, we never played the two up top, and when we did, it wasn't working. But that's partially down to the fact we never had a fully fit strike force because Lee Griffiths coming back out of shape. If we had the two of them fully firing all cylinders, then we could have started last season so much better.
Aye.
We could have had a more free-flowing goal scoring now. Like, it doesn't really... Like, you need the rest of the team to do their bit as well, but it's just, it could have helped it so much.
Well, that's what happens when somebody comes back a stone overweight.
I mean,
a full stone.
That not
we're no slim trimmed ourselves, but
I'm working on it, mate. I'm working on it. Come on, don't look at me when you're saying that.
I was like,
what's that all about? Look, no monster. I'm drinking water. I'm trying the tight stuff on again.
The tight stuff. Well, here, see that I've got that exact one. I've not worn it in a year. There's no chance that's getting back.
Let's
on
just
me.
say my shorts are pulled up quite high because the belly is still there.
Sitting beside Alexis Sanchez on the table.
It's like John McEnroe or something.
I hope that he does do well, but you said it really. One of you two, I can't remember who said it now. Sorry, my bad. I think I maybe knew right, but he's got to understand that now. He is more of a squad player. He's more of a tool than. Well, he's a tool, but he's more of a tool to Ange Postecoglou than the kind of the man who's going to be starting week in, week out, and he needs to understand that. He needs to understand his role, and he can't throw his toys at the pram.
I think if he's took reduced terms, I think he might be a bit more understanding this time round that he's not going to be the talisman. He's going to be there to play his part when called upon.
Aye.
And I don't think I think even he knows he's not going to be the main man this season, even if Edward leaves.
I hate to mention it, but will it be like Defoe at Rangers that he comes on sparingly?
Do you think Griffiths is going to be a coach at Celtic?
No. What is he going to be coaching?
Be a coach.
What not to do at Celtic?
Oh, jeez. Oh. Right, well, that's that then. We'll leave that part there. I don't want to go any
That's
further.
Griffiths away.
That's Griffiths
I
away.
wish.
One day. So a big thanks to everybody at G4 once again for letting us use the space, the studio. I think we'll all agree it's kind of... We noticed the difference already. We were just saying there, as we took a wee short break, that the difference in no being in Zoom and waiting for Kieran's laptop to start working again is very good. It's very nice.
I would say that Kieran and I are sometimes on the same wavelength when it comes to points, and we always seem to go in between each other.
Aye.
So it's good not to have that, and it's
That's
good
right.
that you can tell when people are stopping talking, basically.
Yeah, let's talk about stopping because you don't stop. You only stop at half time and you only stop when the celebrating is going. Let's go and that was nice, wasn't it? Smooth. Let's go and listen to a bit of Ange Postecoglou's training session, if you've not seen it already, that has been released by Celtic, the mic'd up session, which has got everybody, well, at least Celtic fans, a bit excited.
We never stop. We'll stop at half time and we'll stop at the end of the game when we celebrate. But during the game, we don't stop. If the opposition wants to stop, that's good for us. We'll take advantage of it.
That's a swear word there, big Ange. That's terrible. Celtic released content that you just love to see. We remember when Eddie Howe was linked with the job and we were all watching Eddie Howe's mic'd up session with Bournemouth. He was just sitting there with, what was it, Wee Man?
Wee Man for Ryan Fraser.
So we were all getting buzzing over that kind of content, and Celtic just dropped out of nowhere the mic'd up session yesterday, which is, we're going to come on and talk about the different aspects of it, because there's one aspect that we were talking about from another podcast that has been kind of, we want to touch on and maybe refer to some comments. There's the Rangers fans' opinions on that video, and then obviously, of course, the overwhelming support of the Celtic fans. We were all buzzing though with that content. It was class. I loved it. And that clip there that we just played, the don't stop, never stop. Yeah, it's been, Rangers fans are kind of taking the piss out of it, but in terms of what we're now seeing from our coach, I'm buzzing with it.
Is this not the same Rangers fans that when Joe Aribo signed for Rangers, they were talking about how well he poured a cup of water to give to the player? Is this the same fans that are talking about this?
Same fans that had a hard on over Gerrard's brown brogues as well.
Oh, that's right, the brown brogues, Christ. But no, in all seriousness, let's talk about the good side of it first. The session looked good. I know it's only a 3-minute clip of a training session, but we get a kind of the vibe of Ange Postecoglou, Don Postecoglou, I want to call him, by the way, in that tracksuit. It looks good. It looks right out of The Sopranos. It's brilliant. But the vibe of the session looked great. There seems to be an energy there. He seems to be really wanting to push this team fast, Kieran. And that wee portion of it that you stop at half time and we stop at full time. Not just stop at full time, we stop at full time when we celebrate. A nice winning mentality there, Kieran.
See, I've not really read too much into the whole mentality thing because I don't know if it's just, I'm not going to get myself too carried away with it yet because you want to see it put into practice and proper, but it's nice to hear these things. I mean, he's saying all the right things, as we've said in the previous podcast. Everybody can talk a good game, and it's nice to see that he's keeping that up. It's not just for it might be for show, but we don't know.
We'll see.
But I mean, obviously you've got people like Cy Ferry and all that saying, he's just doing his job, and like people, it's more people are getting excited about it because since when do we get to see things like this? It's more about like actually appreciating the stuff that's been put out for Celtic for once, because it's been overwhelming negativity for a year, for a good year, and people are just happy to see something like this to get a sort of insight into something that we have never seen for our club before, and something we might not have wanted to have seen. Mic'd up Neil Lennon last season, some panting.
All you would have heard was tune. Yeah, on the snush, man. That's all you'd hear.
It's nice to see content like this, and you've got a lot of people trying to tear it down and take the piss. I'm like, fair enough, take the piss if you want.
Because to be honest,
we did the same.
If it was Gerrard, I'd probably be tweeting off, okay, well, this, that.
I don't grudge them for taking a piss at it, because it swings and roundabouts. It goes both ways. We take a piss with them.
It's a good laugh, I suppose.
But I mean, in terms of the actual content itself, I'm not going to get pure carried away with the whole winning mentality and that, because at the end of the day, it is something that you would expect for a manager, but I think it's just nice to see for a change, because something that we've been sort of locked out for a year, obviously, literally, and also just it seems like there's been a pure blackout around the club. They've not wanted to communicate after games. There's been days where they don't even tweet for about 2 or 3 days, and people are raging at that. So to just get a sort of air of positivity about the place, it's just nice to see.
I will give them credit where credit's due. I think Celtic's media team have done a lot better over the past 2 or 3 weeks with the content that they've been bringing out. Even with the emails that are getting sent to season ticket holders saying thanks for renewing and that, and I even read somewhere that someone that didn't renew, they still sent them an email saying we're sorry you couldn't renew, we obviously know that times are hard, such and such. Told them to join the waiting list if they want to. But the media that's been coming out of the club has been pretty good. I mean, I'll go completely opposite for you, Kieran. I will get carried away with the training session. We're winning the quadruple next season.
I was watching it, and we said in the football chat that we are winning the Champions League. That was my first impression.
I'll take the Europa League. I'll take
the
that.
Europa League. It's not too shabby.
I love his memory for all the players' names already. Like you can tell he's been doing a lot of work.
I know
to memorise.
It's like a wee thing to touch on. It's like oh fuck. Like
he's been doing his flashcards and has to remember the names.
In all seriousness though, that I'm going to be completely honest. If I was just in charge and I was coming from a completely different country as well, like it's okay when you're going to like a team like Man United and you're working with all of these players who are well known and all the rest of it. You come to Celtic, and especially in the reduced camp when it's all the younger guys as well. To memorise, I know it's his job, and I know people will go, you're clutching at straws here, but from a personal point of view, there is no fucking way that I could do it. I'd be like, sorry, what's your name?
He has that point of time today. He's in isolation for ages. You could just sit and learn them in that
FM.
sense.
I'd be playing FM.
I suppose you could maybe sort of read into it in a way that he said he would like to see a lot more for the academy, and because it is a training session, it is mostly for the younger guys in the club. I mean, it's nice to see the sort of respect he's got for people that they're on the fringes of the team, and they might themselves think, I don't know, we've got a better chance. Like if they're being given a chance and he's shown them that level of respect, then they might have a bit more like thinking, if I buck my ideas up, I might get into this squad.
But I was actually thinking that. See, when you look at the camp and you looked at the photos of him shaking hands with everybody, and I'm like, it's crazy that with a manager coming in who's really just finding out everything about the division and the players and everything else, I don't expect it to happen, but imagine somebody like, I don't know, a Jonathan Afolabi just impressed him and somehow got his way into the Celtic squad and somehow got a chance and somehow became one of the key guys. It's crazy how all that can happen with just a change of a manager. There is an overwhelming sense of positivity for me around this whole unknown factor of what's going to happen. I know it's a risk, and I'm never going to say it's not been a gamble that we've took. Of course it's a gamble, but it's an exciting gamble.
It's a clean slate, like we've said before. It's a complete clean slate for these players coming in, like Leo Connor, Afolabi, Kerr McInroy as well. He knew his name. I was so impressed that he knew these guys' names. Like, they've been on loan last season.
Yep.
But it makes me wonder if a lot of these players will go on loan, or they'll have that sort of halfway point between the first team and the Colts. Will they just stay at the Colts to get some game time, and then maybe if they impress, they go up to the first team, maybe make the squad on a couple of occasions? Be interesting to see what way they take that. I mean, we've not even had any update about who's going to be managing the Colts yet, so
I keep forgetting that the Colts thing's actually happening. It's something that just because of how much has been going on with the actual first team in the club, you forget that the actual Colts thing is happening. So that's an exciting thing as well to think about. But the training session was it was nice. It was good content, and it's just nice to get to know more about the manager, because none of us knew who he was 3 weeks ago, never mind anything else, or last month. So it's nice to see these things put into practice.
I know, it's just...
Like the coffee. That's the hot chocolates.
There's a coffee machine.
That's your fault. Oh, it's gone. There's a ghost in here. Yeah, no way. That is fucking weird.
it's the ghost of 10 in a row.
No, genuinely, that's fucking weird. Yeah. Like, somebody's pressed hot water on that or something. This is turning into a paranormal podcast. There was this very place where we seen a ghost. What were you going to say there before the ghost?
Was that a tribute to Ange there?
The ghost of Steve Irwin.
Jesus. Rest in peace, you'll never be forgotten. What is it you were in the middle of saying before the ghost of 10 that I interrupted you?
I don't know, I think I was just trying to fill the awkward silence that nobody wanted to speak in, if I'm being perfectly honest.
That's because I was having a wee drink of water there.
Was it?
We were talking about the Colts team, but it'll be interesting to see if they can get into League 2 the season after. I know it's only a one-off in the Lowland League, is it?
Mm-hmm.
But it'll be interesting to see if they get into League 2, because I would very much like to go and see like Albion Rovers v Celtic Colts, because that's just down the road for me. I would actually go and watch the Colts in a lot of games. I would go and travel to games, because you know what, I'm starved of football. I want to go to games.
It's like getting that vibe of just going out for a wee day out and all that as well. It's like
you've seen a lot of fans of like Partick Thistle and that recently. They've been getting to go. Even David got to go to the game at
that's
Spartans and that.
Aye.
So it's just even weirder opportunities like I would take it for the Colts. I mean, especially if they're playing on different days and that, and I'm not doing anything, then I imagine there'll be many other people that, as you said, we've been starved of being going to the games. So why not? Well,
nice transition. Let's go into the final talking point before we go into the quiz and the Twitter questions. I am getting the feel that camera battery is about to die on us. That is not good. That is not good. So we'll wrap this bit up, and then we can quickly shove the other battery in charge for 10 minutes, and we can come back and do the final portion of the show. We are kicking off our season on Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday's the first game. We're then playing who on Saturday, is it? Down in Wales as well.
We've got Bristol City as the last game, I think, but then
is it Charlton?
Charlton. So we've got a couple of games down in Wales. A very good chance for us to see the squad in action. I am excited. I'm never excited for friendlies. It's friendlies for fuck's sake. But this season, there's an air around the games that makes it very excitable.
Yeah, I'm buzzing. Any friendly that I can watch. Obviously, we've had the Euros, which is kind of sort of quenched our thirst.
It's filled the gap.
It's filled the gap, definitely, because seeing years that you don't have like an international tournament, it's dreadful. You're waiting for 9 o'clock for Love Island. That is the highlight. No, we are. You are in the Love Island chat now. Ryan is in the Love Island chat.
I never asked to be in the Love Island chat. I was out steaming last night. I come home to see that I'm in a chat called Love Island with people that I don't know. I was like, what the fuck is this? I don't want to watch Love Island. Put in the comments below, do you watch Love Island or no? Pants.
Ryan used to watch Love Island, so don't let him get his high.
I watched one season 8 and 27. I watched one. I didn't even bollocks. I did bollocks. I watched one. That's a load of bollocks. I watched one.
You're missing out the part. It's going to be a good one tonight.
You don't think you're better than the rest of us because you don't watch Love Island. I've been there. I was once a man like that.
And you seen the light.
But the thing is, it's such a segue or a sort of a side topic, but it's such brainless TV that I love. See talking about Celtic 24/7 and just switch your brain off. Exactly.
Just sit here.
I can't fathom it. The football is fuck that.
The camera's running it.
Yeah.
In terms of the pre-season, it's good that the season's starting on Wednesday. It'll be good to see some of the fringe players, some of the young players as well, and some of the players that we've been asking questions about. See what they're like a Yeti and Barkas and that, because they've looked good in training from what we've seen. But I'd like to see them in a a tested environment.
Well, that was
basically.
going to be my question to you, Kieran. The most exciting thing for me is to see these guys actually get a chance. Now is a big chance for Barkas to get himself as the number one at Celtic. It's a big chance for Ayeti to show he's the striker at Celtic. Yes, you take everything in friendlies with a pinch of salt, but they're going to be very telling, I think, as to who's ready to play against Hearts or Midtjylland come the first competitive game.
Of course, because I mean the competitive games are not far away in the slightest. I mean, we need to try and this is a perfect chance not only to see players that have got a clean slate try and prove themselves again, which I hope they do, especially in terms of Barkas and Ayeti because of the money we've spent on them, about £10 million accumulatively. So I mean, getting to see that, but I'm very excited to see the actual style of football.
Aye.
Because you'll get to see the actual structure in place, how we're going to be playing every game. So, I mean, I'm just excited to actually try and see us play an actual style of football again and not just putting 11 men on the park.
It's going to be great, isn't it?
One last thing I want to talk about, like the training. Did you see how many forward passes were getting played?
Aye,
that's exactly what you want to see. I don't want to see us playing just this sideways football. I just want to see us penetrating the opponents, basically.
Oof, nice choice of word there.
The Celtic
Pre-watershed.
The Friday night pint special. We'll keep it at pint. That was so to end off. Here's what I want to find out. It's a friendly game. Do you think Ange is going to be just relentless? He wants drilled into the squad. This is how we play football. Are we expecting? Let's go on again. Are we expecting entertainment from Celtic in these friendlies, or do you think it will be a case of let's just find our feet?
I don't know if
not one foot. I would hope
you'll
maybe
also see a lot of rotation to try and get different players game time and that. But I feel like you might see an actual squad of players getting significantly more game time because he's probably sussed out who his general starting 11 is in the current situation before we get all these players in.
Yep.
So I feel like you might not see. I don't know. You could still do the whole like an 11 for one half and then swap over at half time completely. But I don't know. We need to wait and see. But I don't know. I feel like you see certain players getting a lot more game time.
Nice. Anything to add, Ryan, before we move on to the final two segments of today's show? Anything you want, go on, say something. Say something.
I'm just buzzing for the season to start again. I don't know about you, but I feel a lot more positive than I did 3-4 weeks ago.
I'm like a kid at Christmas.
But hopefully we're still doing work behind the scenes to get some signings in because we are desperate for in some key positions for signings.
That's something that can't be forgotten. There is still a lack of transfers being made. Obviously there's a lot seemingly in the pipeline, but we need to try and get some people in the door pronto.
One more thing actually, the talk of Vuskovic, it's gone very, very quiet on that, which is quite bad or quite concerning rather, because he's the sort of player that we would want in and around the team. I don't know if that's because we haven't had any movement on the other side, like Ayer leaving or other players in that position leaving. Although I don't know how many people could leave in that position.
Can't afford too many.
Have we got like 2 centre halves or something? I want to hear more than that. I want to hear a clear thing. Are we out of that deal or is that happening?
Nice.
I'd like some clarity.
You'd like some clarification. Well, get Keith Jackson on the board. He seems to know everything.
See, I really don't like him.
You don't like him. Got a critic. Right, okay, fantastic. Look, this camera, it's hanging on. Be a thread here. And I don't know whether or not just to go for it and see how far we can get. Since we're on the Twitter questions, just...
Are we on to the Twitter questions?
We're on to the Twitter questions.
It'll bite us in the arse.
Right then, Twitter questions time. We took a wee break there. Kieran had another hot... How many hot chocolates you had in here today
2
then?
hot chocolates and a flat white. Absolutely
Christ
buzzing.
almighty. We are so sorry for stealing all the coffee. Right, well, let's just run through these and get on to this quick quiz as quickly as possible because the camera batteries are taking a bit of the piss. Do you know what I've just realised? I could put that other one in charge, but I've sat down.
This is twice you made this
twice
mistake.
Twice I've made this observation for far. We'll run through. Aaron Smith, regular contributor in the questions, he's asked, do you think Sassy's signing means the Vuskovic deal is off? I wouldn't suggest so. We need more than one centre half, so I don't think with him signing that Vuskovic is off.
I think it's similar to the sort of Frimpong El Hamid sort of thing that you'll get 2 maybe for the position of right back if that's where we're going to play him, or if we're going to play him in centre half. I mean, he's a bit of a jack of all trades, isn't he? So I still think, I mean, I'd like to hear more about Vuskovic, I'll be perfectly honest, need some clarity on that, but I think we'll be signing more players for sure.
I think it's just the initial panic because it's Celtic at the end of the day and we don't expect them to get these deals over the line and that. So as soon as it's fell quiet and we've signed somebody else, we've went for the cheap option.
Aye.
And I think that's the fear in the back of everybody's head. So hopefully that's not the case and hopefully we do get him in as well.
One thing we haven't touched on, it's going to be very interesting because it's going to be a completely different approach that we take now. It's no Peter Lawwell. Peter's gone. It's Don Mackay, so this is a genuine. It'll be interesting to see how it's conducted from now on. Colin Watt, friend of the channel, he's asked, what kind of team are you expecting Ange to play against Sheffield Wednesday on Wednesday?
I'm not expecting any of the Scotland players to play, that's for sure. Because no,
well done, Ryan.
No, because they're just back.
I know. Well done. What a keen observation, mate.
I was answering the question. Jeez, man. No, I think you'll see some of the fringe players. You might see some of the guys that are looking for a second chance, like Ayeti and Barkas. That is if it is to be believed that was their first game, or this is their first game, because there was talk of a behind closed door game that they played in. But we'll see. I think it'll be 2 different 11s, one for the first half, one for the second half. But we'll see.
I think it'll be full strength first half, and then probably
take the foot off the gas second.
Right.
Full strength will be interesting to see at the moment, because obviously McGregor and Christie, we don't really know it, especially in the defence. We're kind of a bit, all over the place. John Paul has asked, who from the Euros has caught your eye that would realistically be in our price range or a hidden gem?
I don't think MD's in our price range.
Who's that boy that everybody was talking about for Wales? He always was getting talked about when Wales played.
What position?
Can't even mind now. He had a funny name.
Funny name.
What's older? What was his name? He plays for Cardiff.
Kiefer Moore.
Kiefer Moore, that's the one. I'm not saying him.
People talking about him.
Every time they played, there was always.
He was doing alright, man, but it's just no.
I just heard his name all the time. I don't know if it was because he had a name like Kiefer Moore. Just it's a funny name.
Seems like a bit of a brute.
It sounds like he's got that sort of Welsh warrior background, rugby player.
I think now, in terms of the Euros, everyone is out of our price range because
now
there's more of a spotlight. And
well, I said earlier about Alioski as a free agent. Another free agent who's very much impressed at the Euros and probably will get a big move is the Czech Republic goalkeeper Vaslic. He's a player that could be someone that Celtic looked at, but I don't think there's anybody at the Euros realistically Celtic are going to go and pick out. I really don't see anything happening.
I think if they've went impressed at the Euros, there's going to be plenty of other clubs that can then afford to pay a lot more in wages than we can.
Yep. We've got Thomas asking, do you think players like Bolly, Bayo and Shved deserve another chance? Bolly, yes. The other two I don't think are going to be good enough. They could be of use. Absolutely.
I don't see Bayo and Shved getting a chance. I think maybe Bongo, just because of the position that he plays, he might get a better shout. I mean, I don't know if people still hold the animosity as to what happened last season, because at the same you think back to it, that really did kickstart the absolute shit show that was last season when he went to Spain for a wee night away.
The yellow card
for a trip to Casa. What is it? Casa
More.
Casa More. That's it. I've not watched it that long, I tell you.
You know.
I don't know.
Casa, what is it again?
What is it like? Casa, what is it again?
Casa Bonita. I think Bolly could maybe get another chance, but we'll wait and see it. And I'm just quite trying.
If you play him as a left wing back, that's his position. He was playing too much as a left back 2 seasons ago when he's a wing back. He's got the pace to hurt teams. You've seen it against was it Cluj that he get that great ball into Edward?
Yep.
They ran straight to the byline. There is definitely a player there. It's just he's very inconsistent, I would say. And that boy that we were linked with at the same time as Bolingoli has signed for Southampton. Romain Perrault, is it?
Aye.
He's went straight to Southampton. Like, they've kind of cut out the middleman. They've spent 11 million on him.
Mad. Matthew Wright has asked, would it be better for us to keep Odsonne Edouard and let his contract run down to give us a better chance of winning the league if we can't find a replacement?
I don't know, it's the same problem. We wanted him to stay to help us win 10 in a row. It didn't happen. Then people are raging at the fact we're not going to get that much money from him. Do we then do that again and then get nothing from him? So I don't know. I realistically think he will leave this summer, but if he does, then we need to just use that money to actually buy in a proper first choice striker.
Yeah.
If he is going to stay, give him a 1 year extension so that we're not losing any more value on him, because he'll be a free transfer if we don't. We should have done that last season, to be fair. Why didn't we do that? Why didn't we push out the boat for that?
We had the whole gentleman's agreement that he could leave this summer, sort of thing. Like, if he helped us win the 10, or something, didn't work.
There's too much eyes in the 10. That was it. We were obsessed. Remember?
Let's stop talking about the 10 now. Let's just forget it.
The ghost still haunts us anyway.
I know it's still here. There's actually quite a few questions. I'll go for one more. Who are you most excited? I'm kind of changing that for you, but this is from Lengard. Final question today. Thank you to everybody for sending your questions as always, and make sure to follow us on the Twitter, where we're going to be branching out into more things because we're upgrading the quality everywhere. But Lengard has asked, What youngsters or which players, just we'll go which players, who are you most excited to see this season? One player who you're most excited to see.
Since we spoke about it earlier, I just kind of stopped thinking, will a Yeti turn it around now? Because it's one that's really not been getting spoke about all that often. Then people are like, oh, he looks a lot leaner now. So I don't know. I'd like to see, because we spoke about this earlier, if we've spent the money on him, we want it to work out. And I'm very interested to see, because there was flashes at the start of last season that he could be a decent player. It didn't work out. He wasn't getting the game time. If he gets the chance this season, I hope he takes it and proves that why we spent £5 million on him.
Fair play, Ryan.
Personally, I want to see a wee bit more of Luca Connell this season. I want to see him actually get a chance in the first team, because I know he done it at Queen's Park, but Queen's Park looks League 2 at the end of the day.
Yep.
Like, it's a bit of a step up, but you see in some of the training videos, I mean, that finish at the end from Luca Connell, it was beautiful. He's obviously got technique, he's got something about him. I want to see him in the pre-season friendlies, and I want to see him sort of make an argument that he's ready for the first team. And if not, then he can kind of go in between the Colts, I would say. But I would always like to keep him there, to have that sort of option to have in the team.
I'm going to stick to my guns with the man who I believe will eventually come through, and it's going to be this season. Vasilis Barkas.
I thought you would have said
That's
that.
what I'm going for. Barkas. I'm excited.
I really do hope it works out.
I do. That's so much. And it will work out. I'm telling you, it will work out.
See, that's the thing. The question you said youngsters, so I was like, Luca Connell used to come out with a Yeti and
No,
Barkas.
he's still young. So is Barkas.
He's 26,
But
27.
did you say it's like a youngster?
No, but it could be anybody. I said we'll make it anybody.
Sorry, I actually read the question in the thing.
No,
that wasn't cheeky, by the way.
Look, I'm going ahead of me. Right,
2020 vision and all
it's
that.
time to go into the final segment of the show, lads, and cue the fancy sound effects. Ryan loves this, didn't you? Your favourite walkout song in football?
It'd be better if we had levels by each year.
As we said, hopefully the people in the Rangers podcast that use this space forget to change it.
Man, welcome to the Battle Fever podcast. That wouldn't be great. It's time for the Sellik the Funders quiz today, though. And Ryan,
If I can find it.
if you can find it, Ryan's actually going to be.
I found it.
Ryan's got to be the one who's hosting it for us today, so that I can actually take part and play in the quiz. So big thank you to Matthew Duff, as always, who creates these quizzes for us out of his spare time. We don't pay him, so we look forward to it. It's the best part of the show. So Ryan, take it away. We've got to do.
What are we going to flip this time?
What we going to
You've
flip?
not got an SD card to
The coffee
That's
cup.
for her water.
The coffee cup. What can we flip? Oh shite! Do you know what? I'll let you pick, Kieran. Do you want to go set A or set B?
Say,
Right.
See.
Bradley Walsh, take it. You've got to look at Bradley Walsh.
Have
You got excited there. Remember
So-
that bit in, have you seen
So
that
is it
clip
going
there?
like downwards?
Aye, well,
that's
you're
fine.
like, remember that cut for the chase? He's like, do you think I could pull you off? No.
Fanny smeller as well.
It's a boy and he's talking about how he goes to all these conventions and stuff like that, like
Aye.
gaming conventions and shit. And obviously Bradley Walsh was in Doctor Who. And he's like, oh, you can maybe dress up as me next time. And he goes, do you think I could pull you off? And Bradley Walsh's face just goes... Right, Ryan, quiz master for the day. Just have fun with it, mate.
Perfect. So we have 2 sets of questions, and Kieran has picked set A. So I will start with question number 1. That's like the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire theme.
So I don't know what this...
it's just that.
It's still Glenn that's gone.
So question number 1, Kieran. Which number was given to the new Celtic signing, Osaze Urhoghide?
Origide.
26.
Correct.
I wouldn't have got
1-0.
that.
Would you know?
Nah.
Celtic are linked with which Scottish left back currently playing in Italy?
Aaron Hickey.
It's 1 each.
Oh, he's got a hickey.
Oh my god. You don't know at this point, we can't blame you.
Question number 2 for Kieran. Only 2 professional teams in Scotland have safe standing, Celtic and which other club?
Kilmarnock.
Correct. 2-1 to Kieran. Question
Well
2
done.
for you, Ryan. Celtic sold Ki Sung Young to which club?
Swansea City.
Correct. Now, I actually changed that there because it said to which Welsh club, but that's just too easy.
Swansea City.
Does it be one of 2? Yep, you're
Well,
correct.
technically they're not a Welsh club, not.
What?
Technically they're not a Welsh club.
Swansea?
Aye, technically they're not.
What,
I mean,
'cause
they
they
are.
play in
They're
England.
not the new Saints, are they? They're not Connors Key.
Conin's Key.
Aye.
That's Kilmarnock's pals. Question.
Gordon Sawyer's pal.
Big Alessio. Question number 3 for Kieran. What is the nationality of the club that Lubo Moratchik signed from?
Slovakian.
Nope. It is actually. Do you know, Ryan?
No idea.
No idea.
It is German. Duisburg.
Ah,
Shit.
that's right.
So this is to take the lead.
I've got my
Ryan.
eyes on the prize now.
Celtic's Jock Stein stand has 13,006 seats, but how many sections does it have to the nearest 5?
Oh, Jock Stein's done.
Mm-hmm.
Does that count Paul's Corner? We have a part of the stadium we call Paul's Corner. Is that Jock Stein's or is that
Aye, because it's before the cut-off. into the
Paul?
main
If you're
stand.
listening, fucking speak to us. Oh, right. Let me think. 14.
The answer is 20.
14.
Mental.
Aye.
Tap
So
on.
you've both got the
Aye,
third question
I
wrong.
put six,
So
I
you
put 6 at both top and bottom.
even Steven.
What would you have said?
I don't know. I said more than 20, I think, to be
Oh,
fair.
well.
Mm.
I'll look at it.
So we're even Steven just now. So Kieran, your fourth question is: who was Ronnie Dyler's first signing as Celtic manager?
Jesus Christ. First signing?
I think I might have a guess.
I don't even know.
I'm going to guess.
I don't even know who to guess. What year would that have been?
2014.
Was it even his signing?
Don't know.
Craig Gordon?
Correct.
Oh,
He's got
that's
it.
right. Aye.
That was a bad hint, wasn't it?
That's right. Aye. I was going to say Timu Pukki. Wait, was Timu Pukki Lennon or Dyler?
I feel like
Lennon.
he might have been
Was
the
that
full
Lennon? Well, I would have fucked it.
I think he was Lennon's second
Right,
season.
okay,
Pick is
right, back to the questions.
Right.
I
Question
need to
number
get
4
this
for
right.
you, Ryan. Other than last season, what was the last season Celtic went without winning a trophy?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. So, when surely 2009/10.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still even as we
Good.
go into the final question. Kieran, here is your last question. In which year did Celtic win their first ever league title?
That's me putting them off.
What year did they win the first ever league title? Oh, Jesus.
That's a hard one. To be
That is a
fair.
very hard one.
It's a hard one compared to the one that you've got.
I don't even know. It's got to be a complete guess. Will I go before 1900 or is it?
I don't know. It's up to you, mate. It's your fucking answer.
Do you want a slight? See, 'cause it's a difficult question. Do you want- See, 'cause it's a difficult question. Can I give him a slight hint? Just a slight, because your question
okay.
is quite easy.
There you go then.
It's before 1900.
I think I have. I think I know.
1894.
Oh, a year off. It was 1893.
I was going to say 1891.
I was
you-
going to
were
say
you there?
92 to be fair, so I just
Were
skipped.
you there for the first? Can he be a true Celtic fan?
My
You,
dad
you can't. You can't.
My dad was
Stevie.
probably there.
Stevie was giving out the programmes.
He was at Brother Wilfred's mass.
So this is the question to potentially win the quiz. Your own quiz. Well, it's not your own quiz, but you usually
Hurry
do
up,
it.
go.
Who scored Celtic's only goal wearing the pink third kit during the
We were at the game.
2016-17 season?
Stuart Armstrong.
Correct.
I fucking remember it as soon as it came up.
His hair is fine. He scores belters all the time. And well done.
Questions for the fucking 19th century.
You were at that game. That was your first ever away game together, wasn't it?
Aye.
That was your first ever. That's cute. Me and Kieran's first ever away game together.
Fucking Baltic, man.
Do you think we'll ever share an away game, the three of us?
No.
We'll get killed. Somebody will kill us or something.
I was going to name drop somebody there, but I thought, you know what, I'll just leave the beef. Aye, brilliant, Ryan. Well done at hosting the quiz, mate. You were a natural there.
Do you think I was quite good there? Am I treading on your toes here? Am I going to get the job?
I'm frightened. I'm absolutely frightened.
Good. I'll keep you on your toes.
I can't fucking go my toe in my foot's fucked.
That's true. You get club foot.
Club foot, aye.
Play Kasabian, put that on your thing.
Oh my god, I just realised that's the name of the album.
It's a song.
Oh, is it not the name? Oh, is it a song?
Do,
Oh,
do,
is
no,
that-
no,
sorry,
no,
oh,
no.
that's right, aye. It's not the name of the album, is it? No.
I don't think so, no.
Oh well. Hey,
Get a Sellik song in here, man. That's what I can hear.
do you not like Glenn though?
I don't mind it, man, but I just don't try to listen.
I'm gonna.
Do you want to hear the tiebreaker question?
Go on, go for it.
So former Celt Mikael Lustig, hail, was in Glasgow to face Ukraine in the Euros. But how many minutes did he rack up before being substituted at the National Stadium?
100 and no, he got was the first half or second extra time. Did he go off? I'm stuck between 82 or 110.
What are you going for?
82.
What are you going for?
81.
Oh my God, it's 83. Bastard.
I couldn't remember if he was in the first. I remember they made a sub in the 100. Don't know. Well, don't ask why I know. But they made a sub in the 110th minute. They made a sub in the 82nd minute. I couldn't remember what one he was. But aye, that brings us to the end. The end of the show. It is a grand old team.
A grand old quiz to play at.
Aye, it is. It is fantastic. I'd like to thank Ryan and Kieran for coming along for our first studio show. Thank you very much, lads.
I can't wait to watch this back, I'll be honest.
You're an egomaniac, you.
If you're reviewing my performance.
Keep an eye out. Wednesday night I might go live on the channel. Obviously Kieran will be at work, but who knows, maybe Ryan will jump on for a wee bit and we can watch the game and talk about what we see.
Might even get 4 people here for the next one.
And who knows, we might have 4 people for the next show. And as the song plays it out, thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you all next time.